You already know that leadership today requires something deeper than strategy or performance. It requires presence, clarity, and the ability to hold energy as a powerful field in the room. For me, one of the most powerful ways I've cultivated that inner leadership was through the Magdalene Reiki lineage, a path that refines intuition, stabilizes your field, and strengthens the capacity to lead from embodied clarity, and a path that calls the priestess, the queen, the wise woman in you to step up. Now, I am opening a new cohort of the Magdalene Reiki certification, and we're beginning this Sunday, 22nd of March, and the enrollment officially closes today, but I have opened a 2-day grace window for the women who feel the call and are ready to step in now. So this is for you who you know that true leadership begins in the energetic architecture of who you truly are. So if that speaks to you, I would love to welcome you to the circle. Click the link in the show notes and join our circle of embodied priestess leadership. Welcome, beautiful seekers of the sacred. Today, we have a conversation about leadership and pilgrimage. My guest is Carmen Balacianu. She's an awakened leadership guide, an executive coach, and energy healing teacher who supports leaders in moving beyond burnout into deep personal and spiritual transformation. She works with high-achieving individuals who sense that their exhaustion is not a failure, but a threshold and an invitation to awaken to a more authentic and aligned way of leading and living. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you very much, Julia. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to share this space with you.
Well, it's an honor to have you. And I love, the conversation that you brought up when you told me that you were going on pilgrimage. So I was totally excited. But before we go there, I would want to touch a little bit upon your personal story, because I also know that you have been or you are in a transformation yourself. So as much as you want to share about that, could you tell us a little bit about who you are becoming right now and what this means for for others as a sacred mirror maybe as well?
Yes, I have this feeling we are becoming every day, or every day we are allowing ourselves to shed a little bit more of what is not us and coming closer to our true self that is deep in our heart, in our soul. And as you said, yes, it's a more visible physical transformation. As you know, I recently started on a secret journey for myself as well, a spiritual journey that will culminate with a personal retreat and pilgrimage in Nepal. But in this journey, I also decided to shed some old energies, some old thoughts, behavior, attitudes, and do a cleansing. And so I decided also to cut my hair. As you know, I had long hair before. It's been only a week or so, almost 2 weeks since I'm with this new look, and I'm really much enjoying. I feel freer. It feels a big energetic change. I was told that could happen, but it's the first time in my life that I'm experiencing. So if anybody listening has ever thought about a transformation like this, I encourage you to go for it. It's indeed a very special transformation.
Wow, thank you so much. That, I feel specifically like even if I look back when I was an adolescent and women would do something with their hair, it was always like a big change, even though back then it wasn't necessarily a spiritual transformation. But I totally agree that it is a life-changing, and also, that outer perception, how that can change our inner perception as well. So I'm curious how and maybe it's not something that you can fully answer right now, but just receiving a glimpse of that. How is the transformation that you are going through right now also related to how we can be a better leader?
It's a very good question and a deep one. I'm still trying to connect the dots for myself as well. I'll tell you only my personal experience, and then we'll see if we can extrapolate that to other leaders. But for me as a woman leader, I was relying a lot on my looks. I did not realize how much we as women live under certain patterns and certain expectations from society to look in a certain way, to behave in a certain way, and especially the hair carries a lot of pride for us women. I remember in the past, like you were saying, if I cut my hair just a little bit too short, and usually that happens, right? When we go to the hairdressers, we say, take 2-3 centimeters, and they take 5. And I remember in those moments feeling stressed, or if they didn't get the color right, I would feel very uncomfortable with those changes that I did not expect. So I was trying to control as much as possible that image, that look that I created of myself. So going for natural hair color right now and a very short boyish kind of look would not have been possible years ago. I was not ready for this big transformation. And today I feel those images have fallen away, that reliance on those expectations from what the society is expecting me to be has been broken free. So I feel more myself, more authentic, more connected, maybe more sovereign in my way of being, in my way of leading. So yeah, now if we are connecting that to leadership, I would love for leaders to find their way. It doesn't have to be a physical transformation like mine. I'm not encouraging people to go for this, but to have inner transformation, to connect more to their inner self, drop what's not necessary, all the old energies and patterns, and lead from that place of authentic self, from that energy that is connected to the heart and the soul.
And I want to say it suits you so well. Like, I love that new look.
Thank
It
you.
has that, when I work a lot with the divine feminine archetypes, and if we just like break it down to the four, the maiden, the mother, the enchantress, and the crone, like I really feel that you're embodying that enchantress, that queen energy right now. So it's amazing how that outer transformation can also bring out certain inner traits that we have more.
Thank you. I just got goosebumps right now. Which for me, it's my it's my message. Wow, a truth has been spoken. So it could be. I noticed that before with the hair, I was spending so much more time getting ready in the morning, right? Trying to get my hair, my now I can remember
Hairstyle?
the word, like the hairstyle. Yeah, the hairstyle in the morning. It took me a while. And sometimes I would not be satisfied with what I managed to achieve, right? And so that will impact me in a way that, oh, it's not exactly the way I wanted it to be. So that control was really, really strong in me. And nowadays, when I can just wash the hair very quickly, arrange it a little bit, and say, you know what? This is me. This is me. There is nothing to hide. There's no way to hide it or no way to beautify it in another way that it's not me. So what you get is real, it's true, is authentic. So I hope that's the energy that suits me best. And we'll see when the hair grows and what's going to happen if I can hold on to this inner truth and be able to show myself exactly in the same way. I'll honor that experience so much.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And we need those examples, like especially in the work field. So it's really great that you are embodying that and try to be that. Again, like I'm coming back to that sacred mirror all the time because I really feel that that's what it is. And I want to speak a little bit, into like when you were tying that to the leadership, it just occurred to me that there is so much stigma around spirituality and spiritual transformation in the work field. And I mean, I'm coming from a corporate background myself. Like, I've been there in my transformation and so fragmented in a way that I could not be that spiritual self, or not let that spiritual self out of the closet while I was at work, for example. So I'm curious to hear a little bit from your experience with your clients. Who are the people seeking out guidance, and what are their day-to-day, like, tangible struggles?
So thanks for bringing this up, because it's it's still a taboo conversation in the corporate world, and in many leaders would not like to make their stories public. So I will not name any names. But what I have seen is a lot of people come to a place where success is no longer the answer. The way success was measured before is not enough. There is a deep calling, a deep voice from the heart, from the soul, that for many, many years they have tried to keep it quiet. And there comes a moment where I say it's an awakening moment, when we recognize there is more to life than what meets the eye. All the perfection on the outside has a connection on the inside, and we try suddenly that the soul wants to be free. When we don't do that, when we don't take that voice seriously, what I've noticed is starts to show up in our emotional health, in our mental health, and sometimes even in our physical health. So it kind of goes that route. At the beginning, we don't know what's happening and we try to ignore it. Then it culminates sometimes in a breakdown, a burnout, or certain big changes that kind of shake us up so much that we just wonder, what happened to me? What's different now? Usually that's the moment when people start to look for guidance. Because until then, when it's about emotions, we are very, very good at keeping them quiet, keeping them down. We're not listening to emotions. Mental health, now it's starting to become a little bit more of a topic, but for a very long time, we kept it quiet. We tried to deal with anxiety, with sleep disorders, with a lot of different things on our own. Depression was kind of, we don't want to talk about it. It's something, that we don't want to be labeled with those kind of words. But when people start to recognize, okay, I'm affected emotionally, mentally, physically, maybe there is something about the spirit awakening that needs to be addressed. Usually clients don't look at it like that. They just want to get healthy. They want a quick fix, whatever it is, in a few sessions, just to be back on track. Other people who have been through this roller coaster several times, they recognize it's not about a quick fix. It's a longer journey, and we want to find the solution, not just to try to put some makeup on it and hide it under layers and layers. So for me, that's the beautiful moment where people start to recognize, okay, I'm going to take myself seriously. I'll check to see what is my soul saying. And I will stop being afraid of what other people think of me or they expect of me to be. And I'll be realigned with my own purpose. I will speak the truth. I'll walk the path. I'll be fully myself, authentic as I am, believing that I'm loved, I'm cared for, I belong, no matter what. That is full power. That is unconditional love for the self. And from that place, it's happiness, it's joy, it's a different kind of living. We start to become who we really are in reality.
Pilgrimage is not tourism. It's a conversation between your feet, your soul, and the earth. When you walk for days, whether on the Camino or any other sacred path, something begins to fall away. The roles, the noise, the timelines, you just become simpler, more honest, more porous, and in that simplicity, something ancient and primordial awakens within you. What I have learned is that no two pilgrimages are the same. Even if we walk the same trail, each soul travels very differently. Some are called into silence, some are called into devotion, some into healing or lineage, some into a quiet remembering of who they have always been. And if you've ever felt that pull, that longing for a journey that changes you from the inside, I have created something for you. The Sacred Travel Quiz helps you understand how your soul naturally journeys, not to label you, but to illuminate the path that is already whispering your name and the sacred sites that are calling your soul home. If pilgrimage or sacred travel lives in your heart, you'll find the link in the show notes to take the quiz and find out your sacred travel style. That is so beautifully put, and I can 100% attest to that. And maybe also as an encouragement to anybody who is listening to this conversation, just like a glimpse from my experience, as soon as I was ready to open up and I started to just like here and there very carefully to like place little nuggets of wisdom to allow people to see that other side of me, what happened was something that I did not expect, because like actually a lot of colleagues, like female colleagues, were reaching out to me to have a coffee, to have a lunch. And I was like, what's going on? And, all of a sudden, like these women opened up to me and they were like, we were sitting over lunch, like literally having a conversation about dragons. And I was looking to the right and to the left and I was giggling inside because I'm like, this is what I have longed for so long. And it doesn't have to be that, but right, just saying that as soon as you give yourself permission to live from that place, as you also mentioned, like that will naturally draw attention and also spark courage in others to show up in the same way, because those people are there in your company, sitting next to you, not talking about it.
They've always been there. They've always been there, but we were hiding until that moment. And it's a beautiful example that you just gave. Once we start to have the courage to open, we give them permission to do the same. And like you said, maybe they only needed a little bit more courage. And also that message, you are okay, you're fine.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, trust this path. It's, go for it. And we always look for like-minded people, right? We want to find our tribe. We will never find our tribe if we are not truly, fully connected with who we are and have the courage to express it. Then we feel disconnected. So it's our own doing somehow. It's in our own power. What do I want? What do I want to reach? And knowing who I am and what I want, and then going for it, manifesting it in our life, it creates a life we want to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. So you told me that you have this amazing pilgrimage coming up. You're going to be walking the Camino in July, 6th to 19th of July. And when we spoke before, you told me that for you, it's not simply a pilgrimage, but it's actually a leadership threshold. Can you speak a little bit into that? What do you mean by leadership threshold?
I will speak a little bit also about what happened, how I've been called to this pilgrimage retreat, because it's a very interesting story. And I was just thinking about it recently, that almost 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, I came to Spain for the first time. I used to live in the US at the time, and I went on an exchange. I was a student in US, and I came back for an exchange in Spain, and I learned about the Camino, El Camino, and it kind of stayed with me. I said, I really want to do this one day. It really calls me. And then, of course, life happens, work, children, family, a lot of responsibilities. And 3 years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to walk a portion of the Camino. I don't have full, the time to take for the full stretch that I had in mind, but it's exactly this one, the Camino Portuguese, that I've been called again to walk. So 3 years ago, I walked a portion of it. And that call got louder, got really loud, and said, okay, you need to walk it from Porto to Santiago, which I'm planning now. And then I was okay. I said, all right, I'll start preparing and I'll do it on my own. Then the call came, you need to do it with leaders on a threshold, with people who want to lead differently. And I said, no, it's too much. I never done this. I've done leadership retreats where I invite people. We are 4 days in a specific location. We don't move around. Imagine this one, if you do the full stretch, is 14 days with accommodations in every single place, with a different coaching program for every day. And, organizing dinners, breakfast, all the things that let's say I'm not the best at. And I said, okay, I will not do it. And then the call came again. And he said, you will do it. You will do it with people, because people need this. There are many leaders who are so disconnected, who are living in their mind, in their head. They need this experience to reconnect with Mother Earth. And it was so strong, this call, like we talked about Gaia in our conversations in the past. It was a call from Gaia that I felt this is needed. Leaders need to see themselves as an intricate part in the bigger system, to understand what it feels to walk every day, to be in that routine of a meditation every day, to see the earth, to enjoy it, to see its beauty, to recognize that all the decisions they make are connected, not only with other people, with employees, with results and profitability, but they are connected to earth. And the other goal, let's say, of this call was to help them reconnect themselves with their souls, to recognize what is their purpose, and let that be the threshold into a new way of living, more authentic, more alive. So yes, that's where we are. I am myself on El Camino right now as I'm preparing for it. And I'm going through this every milestone, every part of it, because I'm recognizing it. There were many moments when I said, no, I'll do it alone and it's easier and let's go. And then something comes and it tells me, no, you have a mission and we are here to support you in this mission.
I love that. And, for everybody also listening and watching, I did an episode very early in the podcast. I'm going to link it, where it speaks about that the place, the Santiago de Compostela, but then also this one is tied to a greater mapping within Europe, as it used to be an ancient oracle site of the moon, and like leaders from the past would go there to be initiated into certain mysteries. So I love that it's a tradition that we are still upholding, translated in the modern
Wow.
times.
Again, goosebumps hearing this, that, there are several parts of the Camino. Hearing that leaders have been walking this Camino to be initiated is exactly the feeling that I have. Also, I learned that this part of the Camino that I chose, because I don't even know why I chose this one. I just felt the right one for me. Then I learned that it's actually the most ancient walks. It was the last, or the Camino that was taken by the remains of Saint James when he was taken from Jerusalem and brought into Santiago de Compostela. And I did not know that when his remains were taken away, they were put on a boat without oars and without sails and sent into the Mediterranean Sea. And to the grace of God, he landed on the coast of Portugal, which, with currents and everything, it's I don't know, the ultimate surrender to to our guides, to God, to whatever energy we want to call it, to say, I surrender on this path, and I know I'm guided and I'm helped in this journey. And like you said, walking every step, it's an initiation with every milestone, with every place on the Camino. We are going deeper into ourselves and closer to who we really are.
And I feel this is, the entire purpose in a way. It's not about reaching a destination, but it's walking the path and being present to what shows up on the outer, but also on the inner planes.
Yeah.
Because again, like pilgrimage to me is this ultimate mirror of everything and anything that happens on the path is connected to the transformation that you need to go through, even though your mind like tries to push things away or triggers or even things happening at home with the family or at work. And you're not present there, but you're present here. So take all that into consideration as part of the puzzle. Walk us a little bit like through the journey. How is the daily rhythm going to look like as far as you can imagine? What is the feel that you're sensing that opens up not just for every individual joining, but on a collective level?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I did it myself, and I really want to bring that experience to the group. What we will be doing, we are starting in Porto, in Portugal, and every morning we will walk between every segment of the way is different. So we have to be adaptable to what's in front of us, to the walk that is in front of us. Some days we'll walk 15 kilometers and the longer days will be 25 kilometers. So between 3 to 6 hours a day is walking. When we wake up in our hotels, and I also decided to make it, let's say, in a really deep retreat version, not the albergue, the stripped down version of the pilgrim, because I wanted the people to really go deep within themselves and not have to share rooms with others. And sometimes I did myself when I did it the first time. I had one albergue where we were 40 people in one room with bunk beds on 3 levels. And I recognized that is not the experience I want to share with this group. I want everyone to have the privacy of their room where they can journal. We'll have a special journal that we'll work with. And also in the morning to do their small morning ritual, then join the group for a ritual that we will be doing together right before we start the Camino and after breakfast. I'm also planning to have a body system so that people will be walking together, 2 of them at a time, and have time to speak, so share and really go into deep connection, and then time to walk alone, but together. Walk in the presence of another person, feel that presence, and refrain from saying anything. In many situations, we just want to fill the gap. We are uncomfortable with silence, and we don't feel safe. I want them to have this experience of feeling complete without speaking in the presence of another human being. We will usually, as I mentioned, walk to the next location where we will meet in the afternoon again for a short coaching session with a group. We'll have our own ritual as well. Then we'll have a really nourishing dinner. I'm selecting beautiful restaurants where, as you know, Portuguese and Spanish food is really wonderful. There will be no wine, at least for me, that's for sure. But I would love to encourage the participants to also keep alcohol at a distance for this particular time of the journey, just to help us go deeper and to have more clarity for this journey. And early sleep, that's a must because the mornings start very early. So every day will have a specific routine. There are certain things that will happen, but there's a lot of space for other interactions and new things. And as you said, it's going to be a mirror. A lot of things will come up. It's almost predictable that all the, let's say, the shadows will show up because they've been waiting to be integrated. And this is a moment we are giving ourselves the space to see ourselves fully, integrate what's been missing from the whole, and arrive not at the destination counting the kilometers that we have walked, but arrive in Santiago with that feeling of we are beginning another journey. It's a beginning of a new life. We have passed over that threshold of the old, and we are becoming ourselves.
Sounds very, very transformational. And as somebody who has, walked like pilgrimages before, I can totally attest to the power of that. I feel with all that you said, it's really like in the walking, there was a stripping away of the titles, the roles, like performance. So everybody becomes simply a pilgrim, a walker. And as you said, like with their buddies, they can share. So no matter, what the upbringing, the beliefs, the titles are. And what happens to identity when that achievement is no longer the currency that it's being measured against? And how does that maybe rewire how someone leads afterwards?
Yes, that we're coming back to how we measure ourselves against others, how we compare, how we compete, how what success means to us. Once we start to take away the titles, even the name, the sense of belonging to a certain group in society, we become closer, or we are unveiling the human being, the soul that has been yearning to connect to other souls. And sometimes everything that we mention is just a protection mechanism, a way of putting ourselves into a bubble where we don't really belong. When we start to take away the titles and successes and the ways we are measuring ourselves, we are truly who we are, and it brings to life, it brings a joy of life in a way that we've been looking for since we were children, when we didn't have titles, when we didn't have any desire to be somebody else, and the big ego showing up and saying, okay, who am I? I need to be important in some way. So coming back to playfulness, coming back to full presence, to the freedom of just being without doing, without achieving. I believe it's a gift every leader deserves to receive, and from this gift, it's impossible not to lead differently and inspire others to do the same.
I agree. And what just came to my mind is actually also an entire reframing of the word and the implication of leader and leadership. Just a brief example, I meet so many women on the priestess path who are mothers. And there's almost like a shame layer around them where, like, one said to me, oh, I don't have a fancy spiritual business, or like, she's a mother of 5. I'm like, okay, well, like, stop. Can we just please like honor and acknowledge that you are raising the next generations of human beings, of like conscious human beings, and the way that you are doing it is such a big service to humanity. And it really makes me so sad, because I feel in our minds like a leader is only a front row person that might even use power or control in in high achieving companies, whereas it's also on us, I guess, to reframe that whole paradigm, what leading and leadership actually means.
So beautifully said, because I have this experience as well with many women, even in positions of leadership, who don't trust themselves to be leaders. Somehow it's easier for men, the way women and men are raised is different. It's easier for men to step into the role. But women sometimes they feel, yes, I'm not a leader. But in reality, we are all leaders. We are leading ourselves first. Then we are leading in our families as mothers, as daughters. Also, sometimes we end up in leadership roles when we have to take decisions for our parents. And we spoke about this before. There are so many positions that in roles we are playing as leaders, but somehow we are afraid of the word. We are afraid to recognize how much it's actually part of us. We are leaders, not only at work, but at home and in our life. And for that, it also requires to give ourselves the time to retreat, to go within. If we are in the busy working scenario or the home scenario, it's very difficult to take the time or to step aside to see yourself, to observe yourself, to see how you are actually leading or how you are running away from responsibility in some situations. And to do that with love, compassion, and care, not with that feeling of shame or guilt that I'm not doing it right, but to start to see it from that place of compassion. I am a great leader and I'm learning with every step that I'm taking. This is what I would love to see leaders going through this transformation on the Camino, because with every step, there will be small decisions or sometimes big decisions to make. There will be moments when they will get lost and they will have to trace their walk, go and walk back to find the path again. Literally, not only, let's say, as a metaphor. And to recognize that going back, it's sometimes the best decision that you ever made. We are told you have to, go forward, go forward. But sometimes stepping aside or helping somebody else to walk ahead of you, and then you come second as a leader, it's a very important decision to make. You don't have to walk always in front of the pack. Leading from the back is an amazing energy as well to be in, to embrace that, to really center yourself into it. So, yeah, the El Camino gives us a lot of leadership experiences, and I can tell you so many also examples, like small example from last time when I recognized there was like a very small pebble in my walking shoes. And as I'm a very driven, ambitious, kind of a high achiever leader, that's, how I see myself. And I've noticed that others see me as well. I said, you know what? It's only 15 more kilometers. I will not stop to take the pebble out, right? And guess what? That very small pebble did so much damage. And I can see you've had similar experiences. And I had to learn that on my own, to recognize that at the first sign of danger, we have to stop. Stopping is part of the Camino. Stopping, taking care of ourselves and our needs is number one priority. Don't look at taking care of others, take care of yourself first. So yes, it was an amazing lesson El Camino gave me, and one that I will not forget so easily. Maybe I've seen that, not maybe, for sure. I had received that lesson many times in the past. And the one from El Camino was much stronger because it was embodied. I felt it in my body. And that's what we are missing a lot in leadership. We do a lot. Also with coaching, clients want to talk, but it's not enough. We need to feel it in our body. And then when we do that, it stays with us.
And that's a great segue because you also touched on integration. And I would be very curious, after the return home with all, the experiences, but what must somebody, or not must, but like what's recommended also from your perspective in terms of integration and conscious embodiment of the transformation. So it's really incorporated and embodied into the day-to-day instead of just like letting it be that experience, but then like going back to the old operating system and programming.
Yes, it's a great question. When we are starting, even before we are starting the Camino, I always tell people the journey starts at the moment you have committed to yourself that you are doing it. It doesn't start in July. I have people who are signing up now and it's February. And I tell them exactly the same thing. It starts today. Don't wait for it. There will be logistical things that we will be going through, but the transformation starts today. You start observing yourself with different eyes from a different angle. So what we do during the Camino, as I mentioned, we will have a journal and we will be working on specific topics and also on anything that comes up. We'll have the flexibility as we are a very small and curated group. I will have time to dedicate myself with every participant. When we are coming back, we have an integration session as a group, and also there's a possibility to work with one-on-one for the ones who are interested. But what they will be doing also on their own is to go through every step of their journal. It's almost like a book. It's a book of self where they will start to recognize patterns. Because you know what's funny? The universe gives us multiple opportunities to observe these patterns and behaviors. We are just repeating them. We are on repeat. And once you start to read through and you recognize, oh, wow, I'm in the same loop again. And I recognize a few years ago, I was going through that loop. What do I want to do? Then I want to commit to make a change. It only starts when we are ready. If somebody comes and shows you in the mirror, here is something that, you know, we've been seeing, you don't accept it. But when you recognize it yourself and you commit to it, then by going through the journal and selecting from there at the beginning, maybe one or up to 3 elements where you say, okay, this behavior I want to change. And going through that day by day with discipline and with patience and self-love, then we start to see the changes arriving. At the beginning, it's harder. As we've been, both of us, we've been through this journey, it feels like, oh, I thought I've done so much work and they will not come again. And we kind of expected quick fixes. But then we realize, okay, these changes that are integrated and are embodied because the body helps us also through the Camino, the flags are more visible. We recognize it. And it's more like a renewal of commitment with every step. And we end up changing. The beauty is when the people around us start to notice the things, the changes. They start to notice, oh, maybe people will say, you used to get very angry in these kind of situations and now you are very calm. What happened? What did you take? What did you do? Usually some kind of a quick fix, hopefully. And then you say, look, I've been on this journey and it's brought a different level of calmness, of peacefulness with me. And now I can make decisions from that clear place of mind rather than from being rushed or afraid and just reacting to certain things. I'm more connected. I'm more grounded. You start to recognize it yourself and the others see it in you.
Wow. I'm already so excited for everybody who's going on that journey. Before we come to a close, I'm also really excited because for either people who are listening to this and they have that voice deep down that's like, I really know I should go, but there's 100 excuses why I cannot go. What are the main objections that are coming up and how do you meet them?
Interesting, because I never thought of this, because I'm going more with the people who are called, they will find a way to me. I had never thought, and sales, it's not something I'm friends with so much. So I'm more in the place of manifestation and attracting rather than meeting objections of someone who says I'm not ready, because it has to be an inner call. If I go into trying to help them and convince them to make this journey, it's probably not the right time for them to join. But I can tell you for myself, my own objections of not doing this with leaders, right? For me, was the timing. I said, okay, I can do it another time. Maybe this year is not the right one. And then guess what? I'm on a spiritual journey and I'm following the Buddhist tradition, and we just entered the year of the horse, the fire horse. I'm reading about the year of the fire horse, and then I suddenly read this, and I kid you not, I was in that moment, I was like, how can this be? Well, apparently, the people who are doing pilgrimage in the year of the horse, the merits of this pilgrimage are multiplied. I don't even know how many times over. And for me, that resonated. And I said, look, interesting, I'm going to do it now. Then I find something else in the Chinese tradition where they said, this year comes only every 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to wait another 60 years to do this? So it was so strange, because it was like the universe giving me the reasons why now. Then I also found out that next year actually is a holy year in the Christian tradition, and there will be a lot of pilgrims on the Camino everywhere going to Santiago. I still want to do it next year, but then I thought, for the first time doing it with a group, wouldn't it be nice to have really the peace and quiet of a really, a walk that is really nice and not, very busy with pilgrims. So in a way, I guess the universe has given me the, how do you answer that? Why now? Can I do it? Do I have time to prepare? Yes, it's only February. I have a lot of time to walk, to buy the things that are needed, and also to recognize you don't need to carry a lot of things. I didn't mention that we will have also a service for the luggage, so we don't have to carry everything on our back. Yes.
This is the comfy way.
It's the comfy way, and I wanted to do it like this because I don't want people to arrive stressed, exhausted, and feeling the weight of the package or the backpack. I want them to let go of the weight. I want them to have that experience of walking free, and certain, let's say, luxuries are okay. They have carried a lot before coming on the Camino. Already there's so much going in their lives, as in their families, in their work environments, there's so much going on. So I want this to be an experience where they really are able to let go and come back to self. I call it the return to self Camino. So it has a lot of resonance to me that this journey is coming back home and recognizing what we need the most. So yes, to answer your question, I would encourage people to, when they hear this, or if they go to my website, or they are excited about, or they ever thought about the Camino, to take a moment to meditate and ask themselves, is this the right moment? And is this the right guide for me to go on this journey with? And if there's a clear yes, then to get in contact, there's an application process. I like people to understand that I want to put together a group that will be coherent, and it will be a conversation. So an application and a conversation before before confirming the registration. And yeah, listen more to the heart. Don't think about the mind and all the all the reasons why now or why not, but go for let's do it. If there's a clear yes in the heart, listen to the heart.
That's a great advice for everything.
For everything.
For
Yes.
everything. Okay, beautiful. Well, let us know, where can people read more information about the journey, also more about you and maybe other offerings that you're holding?
Yes. My website, I will share with you, it's cb-coach.ch. There they can find a lot of information about what I'm offering on the coaching journey, on the energy coaching journey, on the awakened leadership and executive journey. So there's several paths that they can choose. About the Camino, they can reach out to me and book a discovery call, or actually there's a link where they can express interest, and then there will be a discovery call to see if that's what they are, let's say, best fitted for them in this year. On LinkedIn as well, you can get to know me or watch my Awaken Leaders podcast on YouTube. There are many ways. Instagram, I'm just realizing now, wow, when did I do all this? All these different channels, they're just kind of springing here and there and all this information coming up. So, yeah, if you want to find me, definitely even Google me and a lot of stuff will come up. So, if it's meant for us to connect, it will happen.
Yeah, and for sure, we're going to be putting all the links in the show notes. Wow, Carmen, that's been such a heart-opening conversation. I feel really full and just, full of trust, full of, I don't know, grounded, embodied wisdom right now. Thank you so much for sharing your energy, sharing your time, and I hope that your coherent group of awakened leaders or leaders to be is, having a wonderful transformational journey on the Camino.
Thank you very much, Julia. Really excited to lead this group and to be guided as well by the Camino as we are going together. And thank you so much for this conversation. It's been really also it's landed in my heart, and I feel a really good connection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the show today. I will see you next time.